Kamala Harris is truly the most tone-deaf, incompetent politician of the modern era. She's so terrible that she makes Hillary Clinton seem personable and compelling. That really was on full display on Friday as Harris jetted off to Nashville to visit the Tennessee Three and to stump for gun control. That decision, of course, came after the Biden administration originally all but ignored the tragic mass shooting by a T-person militant that set off the current chain of events. To this day, no one within that administration has even mentioned that the murderer purposely targeted Christians in an obvious hate crime. To that effect, it was also obvious that Harris had no intentions of visiting Nashville until it became politically convenient to do so. While administration officials, including Joe Biden himself, have previously gone to sites of school shootings in the past, this one was largely ignored and obfuscated. Yet the moment 3 Democrats perpetrated an insurrection at the Tennessee Capitol, Harris decided it was time to put boots on the ground. There wasn't even any question about what the vice president's priorities were in making the trip. Her own staff bragged about them. Kirsten Allen tweeted out, "VP is wheels down in Nashville, heading to meet with state legislators." Kamala herself tweeted out, I'm sure, quote, "Today I stood with parents, students in the Tennessee Three. They won't be silenced, and their demands for gun reform must be heard." In Congress and in state legislatures around the nation, leaders must have the courage to act. Imagine being one of these parents who lost a child in the Nashville shooting, having to be ignored for nearly 2 weeks, only to have the vice president show up to proclaim solidarity with spoiled, fame-seeking legislators that used a mob to shut down the legislature. 3 dead children and 6 deaths total weren't enough to move Harris, but meeting with insurrectionists was. Now, I can't really say for sure whether the vice president met with any of the families after finally making it to Nashville, but if she did, no one's talking about it, so I highly doubt it.
I want to start by recognizing the Tennessee Three. And they understood the importance, these 3, of standing to say that people will not be silenced. To say that a democracy hears the cries, hears the pleas, who hears the demands of its people, who say the children should be able to live and be safe and go to school and not be in fear. It wasn't about the 3 of these leaders. It was about who they were representing. It's about whose voices they were channeling. Understand that. And is that not what a democracy allows? A democracy says you don't silence the people. You do not stifle the people. You don't turn off their microphones when they are speaking about the importance of life and liberty. That is not what a democracy does.
I mean, that would seem unlikely given how much the administration has bragged about such interactions in the past. What Harris definitely did, though, was pull out her preacher voice to shout about the real victims, the Tennessee Three. She's about as likable as a swift kick in the face, and the previous clip is illustrative of that, isn't it? This woman has the audacity to go to what I assume is a church, given the organ in the background, to scream and gyrate about silencing people while basically standing on the bodies of dead children to do so. Dead children, I might add, that she didn't show any care for at all until some Democrats were expelled from the legislature in the same city. I sometimes hesitate to use the word in regards to politics because it can be over the top, but this seems objectively evil to me. This is a person who plugged Trans Day of Visibility in the same week a transgender militant murdered children for political reasons. Harris has refused to describe the act as a hate crime despite it clearly being one. Instead, she and the administration decided that the trans community was under attack when it was a trans person who committed the mass shooting in question. One can only come to one conclusion. These people do not care about you. They only care about what is politically expedient for themselves. Even still, it's shocking to see how far they've pushed the envelope on this front, literally ignoring the targeted killing of children to instead prioritize sympathy for insurrectionists. It's an unconscionable, grotesque spectacle. Now, here is a minority of color who puts things back into, let's say, decent perspective, proving there is some sense of normalcy in Tennessee.
Yesterday, one of those lawmakers who was expelled, Justin Jones, attacked a Republican representative, of course, on the basis of his race.
What I told you was what you just exhibited. As the only member of their caucus who is not of the Caucasian persuasion, I said that you put a brown face on white supremacy.
Oh, please. So the man he was attacking was Representative Kumar, and he had a response to that. Here it is.
I'm an immigrant, everybody knows. I have been in this country for 53 years. I have never encountered a racial slur. I'm really not aware that any of that applies to me. I live a good life. Yet, you on tape called me a brown face. You walked up to me. You had no business coming up to me. You were sitting a row or two ahead of me. You shoved your finger in my face and said, Kumar, they will never accept you. You said it twice. It is disappointing that you have insulted this body. You have insulted your colleagues. You have insulted the House of Representatives in the state of Tennessee. You have insulted our speaker. You have personally insulted me.
Of course, they go immediately to race. Sabi, Doc Kumar is a representative from the state of Tennessee. He voted, as we told you, to expel Justin Jones and two other Democrats who participated in the insurrection. He joins us tonight. Representative Kumar, thank you so much for coming on. You said something poignant at the top. You said you've been in this country a long time and you've never experienced a racial slur until this week.
That is true, Tucker. I have been here for 53 years and I have practiced surgery. I've lived in Tennessee for 46 years and people have been extremely kind to me. I was really surprised, and that these things should not happen, especially in a place where people are constantly guarding the values in such a way that discrimination and racism does not occur.
Well, it sounds like they're creating it. I mean, the dispute that you're having with Democrats has nothing to do with race that I can see, unless I'm missing something.
The problem really, I think we have to consider in the context of what happened in Nashville on March 27. You know, there was an unfortunate shooting at the Covenant Presbyterian Church. 6 people died. And it is the grace of the Covenant Presbyterian Church that instead of saying 6 people were killed, they count the shooter among those and said 7 people died. That is the community that we live in. That is the community that Nashville is. And people included the shooter among the casualties. And as important as time as it is for our community to allow for healing, to allow for understanding, before we move to plan on what can we do to avoid such violence within our society, these representatives took time to invite people, mobilize schools, bring thousands of children in, and create a situation that it became about them. It was not about any solutions. It was not about sympathy and mourning and other things that needed to be done. It really, they took it as an opportunity for political purposes to demonstrate and mobilize the people against the current administration.
Yes.
Then, in addition to that, not only were they satisfied with making it all about themselves, they went on to basically commandeer the House. They walked into the well of the main area within the House of Representatives, disrupted the function, started mobilizing and shouting and creating chaos within the House of Representatives to the point that business could not be conducted. They took the place hostage. Yes. And that is not the purpose. The idea was, again, to achieve that time of mourning, a time of healing, and go on to think solutions. And it's a frequent thing. Let's do something. Okay, let us take time to do something, but not make it about themselves.
Of course. Dr. Kumar, your decency comes right through the screen. And so without knowing a lot of the details, I'm definitely on your side in this debate, and we appreciate your explaining this story to us a little more tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Most of this came by way of redstate.com. If you'd like to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.